Welcome to our stories of hope and faith. We have an exciting show for you today, a very, very special guest, and we're going to be back in a moment to hear from our special guest.
Our lives are filled with challenges as we seek to fulfill our destiny. Along the way, many of us find the strength to achieve and overcome through hope and faith. Join your host, Pastor Dave Burrows, as we explore and highlight the journeys of incredible heroes from all walks of life who overcame great odds. Welcome to our stories of hope and faith.
A landlord, Lucian, all cultures and soul are sent this to the world.
Save this world.
Make them know some war is ugly and love is lovely. Send it.
We need peace. We need love. Oh, yes. We need peace.
Welcome back to our stories of hope and faith, and we have a very special guest with us today, someone I'm very familiar with, and we're going to get to his story right now. Let's welcome to the show, Orlando Miller, aka Landlord.
Hey, Pastor Dave. I'm so honored to be here with you, sitting down with you today. It's such a great honor.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Glad to have you on the show.
Yeah, man.
But speaking about interesting stories, your story is a very interesting story. A lot of people, they may see you now, they may see the glory, but they don't know the story.
No.
So let's take it back a little bit to growing up in the Grove.
Growing up in the Grove, it was rough, growing up under humble beginnings, with foreign parents. My mother, she had mental issue, bipolar, so it was really embarrassing a lot because, many times, you go to school and, my mom would come to the school with 3 shades on, lipstick all over her face, and the kids would laugh and tease her. And, growing up, a lot of people looked down on us, you know what I mean? And, people said things that, caused you to have a low self-esteem, like nothing good would ever come out of you, you guys are nobodies. And so that sticked in my mind, and I start to believe it. And so, you end up, finding yourself in a corner and more segregating yourself away from people. Mm-hmm. And so that is how I grew up. And so I was looking for love, and I was looking to be accepted. And then sometimes when you try to find love, you end up finding the wrong love and finding it in the wrong places. So,
Right.
That was how it was for me growing up in the Grove.
Now, when you say finding love in the wrong places, that led you to doing what? Being around who?
What happened was that, while growing up, being segregated, not having the necessary things as, I didn't grow up used, we wasn't used to having light, little common things like that. And, it was rough home, many times. I don't know what it is to experience a good Christmas while everybody else was having birthdays and Christmas gifts and these stuff. And so it wasn't easy. And so I was bullied. And so just growing up in that area, you wanted to look for some type of acceptance. And so you end up hanging with certain people who you felt that, hey, these people are like-minded and they are all for you. And so you end up getting yourself connected to what you call gangs.
Right.
And so they are usually breed in school, because many times you gotta come home. And when I was going to H.O. Nash back then, and I live in the Grove, and back then, either H.O. or C.C. or T.G. Glover, they had issues. So you had to align yourself with certain people who would be able to give you some type of protection. And that's how a lot of young men get caught up in the gang life today. It ain't like they are bad people, It's just that they were looking for security. And so when I look at the young men today that are caught up in the gang life, I feel really sad for them. Because in these times, back then, your biggest concern was maybe a voice in your head or maybe some a fist up. But in these times, young teenagers, they are facing headshots. You ain't having no second chance.
Yeah.
And so when I look at my life and what I had to align myself to for some type of security or for some type of acceptance, because like I said, I was looking to be accepted. I was done a loner. I was done, looked down on, felt like that I was a nobody, low self-esteem. So I was looking for that acceptance. And so gangs is who accepted me. I had older folks who was older than me, and they were, in these gangs, they had the girls, they had the money, and that was something that attracted me to it. And it felt like somewhere that I could feel comfortable. And so that is how I got caught up. Wasn't a person to say, well, okay, well, I'm an evil person. Like many times when you look at young men who are on the street now who are going through certain situations, many times people look down on them and say, oh, they bad or they evil. No, they good men or good boys.
That's funny that you would say that,
Yeah.
because I remember growing up, some of the guys I hung around with, they were really, really notorious guys.
Mhm.
And people would act like these guys are so terrible, like 24 hours a day, they just mean people.
Yeah, I know.
But sometimes the
The
bank
system,
robbers,
yeah.
the gang leaders are some of the
The
nicest people.
nicest people in man. They were down to it. A lot of them, they would look out for me. When I was living in Farrington Road, there was a guy called Myron. He goes by the name of Donkey, and me and him got close. And many times we would go downtown together, and so many of these guys you end up gravitating to, and they will look out for you because you were younger, and so they give you some type of security because at the same time you're trying to get home, you have to pass certain areas, and so either you getting run or some type of issue you got to get yourself into, so you have to find some type of security. But today, I really feel it for the young men today that as a teenager you got to carry gun. I mean, most of these young men can't even catch a bus.
You can't even carry a gun anymore.
No.
You have to have a what they call a chopper or
Man, trust me, it is really dangerous, for young men nowadays, and I really feel it for them. It's a total different times, and we just gotta keep working on them and giving them this kingdom teaching and kingdom message.
So now, so you were in the Grove. The gang in that area was the Nike gang, and so you were involved in the regular gang stuff, activity, causing different problems, getting in fights, and so on. But something happened that changed your course in life. Tell us a little bit about how you ended up changing your life.
Before Nike was established, I was living through in Farrington Road in Chippenham, and so I used to hang out with the gun dogs, gun
You
hawks.
was almost in my area.
Yeah,
man.
so I was up in those areas. I used to be in West Street with some of my co-workers. They were already a part of the gun hawk, so I would be there with them, or down in Beantown or Farrington Road where we was living back then. And so I was a part of different groups. Now when we got put out from Farrington Road area, I went back to live with my brother-in-law of Andrews Avenue and my sister. And so I started living there, and then me and a couple of guys who we grew up, we were having some issues with some of the guys in the area, and that's when we started the group called Nike Boys at that time. And, and many of the guys that I started out with, some of them got killed, some went to prison, and everybody just went their own way right now. We are older men, and we look at things differently. But at that time, I was getting myself into some mix-up that I really got tired of, and I felt that there was something deep down inside of me that was greater than the mess I was living.
Right.
And so I really wanted to change. I had this gift in me because music was something that I always found myself. It was more like a medication to me growing up. When I was depressed, I would find myself singing. I would find myself always singing positively because I grew up with music like Luciano. People, they were like my role model, Garnet Silk, and they were always positive music. And so I always used music to uplift and strengthen me when I was going through my little dilemma. And so I felt there was something special about me and music. When I went to school, I would beat on the desk. I would find myself singing. So there was something that was inside me needed to get out. And I found myself really depressed. And I said, hey, Lord, there got to be something different for me. And me and Peter Runks, we used to go to different areas like Montel Heights among Bobo Mikey Dread and Regency, excuse me, Regency with Bobo Thai, Miami Street. And so we would go on the system. We would go on the system and we would chat and we would do our thing. And because we were trying to find an avenue to really bring out our gift.
Right, right.
And so it was many of us, Clement Shea, Peter Runks, many of us. Sing-a-thon, yeah. So a lot of us had this gift and we was trying to get it out. And Peter Runks ended up changing his life. He got connected with you guys.
Right.
And then he invited me to a meeting with you guys when I was having it with the Prime Minister at the time. Downtown.
Yeah.
Past, Prime Minister Hubert Ingram.
Right, right.
And at that time, you guys surrounded me and started telling me about this faith. And at that time I said, I really feel I need something different. Yeah. And so that's when I made a change in my life. I was still messed up. My mind was still messed up. I still wanted something better. And just coming to this church have changed my life. And I used to sit right in the back and I listened to the teachings from you and Pastor Carlos Reed, Pastor Miles, Pastor Richard Pinder. And I looked around, I would see people with their tablet and their books and they write, and I trying to figure out if I'm in church or in school.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I sat down and said, this is really interesting. And so the information that I was getting was so powerful. It changed my life because it took away the filth that that people poured into me from growing up, that I was a nobody, nothing good could ever come out of me. The teaching from this church, the teaching from the Word of God, letting me know that I am wonderfully made. And that anything that I desire that the Most High wants me to have, I can have it. I have potential and purpose.
Yeah.
And so I start to believe that. I start to get confident in myself. And I would have never thought in a million years that I would be an entrepreneur, to work for myself and to have my own place and to have a family. I mean, growing up on the street, then when Pastor Miles and you guys start to take me on the family island and start to give me exposure, that just messed me up worse because, growing up, only certain areas I was accustomed to.
Right.
I thought the Grove was the world. I thought, Farrington Road or Baintown, that was it. But getting to travel, it opened my mind and, going to Mexico and Africa and seeing the different cultures and how people live. And I say, something, if people could go through this and make something great of themselves, why can't I?
So your music gift, well, first of all, you had a change of perspective in life. It was through your faith that your life changed.
Yes.
And then after your life changed, your gift started to make room for you.
Yes.
And you've been all over the world. I remember us doing events in New York at Madison Square Garden.
Texas.
Yeah, in Texas at the African gathering.
Conference.
Yeah, and then you've done so many places. So you've been so many places over the world, and so your faith has taken you from the hood, from gangs, to becoming a husband, a father, an entrepreneur, a musical artist, doing stuff around the world. To tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming an actual producer, because you have television shows and radio shows around the world. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. After Dr. Miles passed and, Pastor Richard, that did something to my life. I stopped coming to church because when I started to come to church, I would break down and just listening to the songs and just seeing the different faces, and it affected me, because the last trip I went with Dr. Miles was the same year he died. We was in Jamaica together, raising some funds for an orphanage, and we just finished working on a song together, maybe about 4 or 5 months before he died. And he came to me, said, "Landlord, I want me and you to do more together. I want you to travel with me more. So I'm going to be calling you so we could go into Costa Rica and these different places." So I was really looking forward to that. And when he died, that was really rough for me. And so I stopped singing. I wasn't interested in, like, I gave up. And I got a job to work at a ATM company where we would fix ATMs and put money in them. And a guy there, he was a fan of mine. He said, "Man, Landlord, what's going on with you? I don't hear no music from you. What's going on with you?" And he said, "Man, you ever thought about doing a TV show?" I say, "What? TV show?" I say, "Man, I can't even talk. I can't speak." But I into that. He
Right.
say, "Man, but don't worry about that. I will teach you how to do it." And so the company gave us iPhone 5s, and that is what we used to shoot my first 6 episodes. A month later, I went to Claire Carter Customs. One of the guys, he's a custom officer, he said, "Hey, Dr. Miles came to visit you yet?" And I said, "What do you mean by that?" So and he said, and anyway, he said, "Don't worry, he can come see you." And I had a dream, and it was so real. I heard a knock on the door. I opened up the door, and it was Dr. Miles, and it was so real. He grabbed me, and he hugged me, and he kissed me, said, "Landlord, don't worry about me. I'm here for you." And so I welcomed him in, and we sat. My wife was cooking, and we started talking. He started to rebuke me. He started to lash me. He said, "Landlord, what are you doing with your life? You're wasting your life. Stop worrying about me. Work on your legacy. You're going to be great. The world is going to know your name. People all over the world is going to be reaching out to you." And he started to scold me, and he started to encourage me. "Don't worry. You're going to make it. Don't worry. Just start working on your legacy." A week later, at that time I was signed with a record label, J Moss, sister, husband signed me, Mr. Service. So he took me to Nashville, Tennessee for the Stellar Awards. And while I was there, I met this guy, Mike D, who's right now is my partner. And he went to college with some of the biggest TV hosts that is on CNN and MSN. And so he reached out to me, said, "Landlord, you ever thought about doing a radio show?" I said, "What, a radio show?" I say, "Can't speak." I try to run from that too.
Yeah.
But he said, "Landlord, don't worry about that. I am going to teach you. I will mentor you." And that's how we started. And
Wow.
he showed me how to do it. He said, "Okay, Landlord, I know you stutter, speak a little slowly. Don't say this, don't say that." And so we started out with one TV network, one radio network, and now today I'm on 90-something syndicated radio shows, on 20-something TV syndicated shows, and God continued to expand me, and and exactly what Pastor Miles said, I start to see it come to fruition.
Wow.
So God is opening up some major doors, and I am so grateful, because of the great teachings of the kingdom.
Wow, that's an incredible story. I mean, it's a story so incredible. It's almost like this didn't happen. You had to make that up.
I tell you.
But I look at your journey because I remember that day when we were downtown.
Yeah, and you lead me to Christ.
Yeah. We had
Christ.
about 25 or 30 gang
Yes,
members
it did.
who had all gotten converted. I remember it's almost like they gang you.
That's exactly what happened.
Because we surrounded you and say, "Hey, Landlord, it's time to give your life."
Yeah.
And I look at that moment, and then when I see your development, the music was one thing, but seeing the television shows that you're producing, it's amazing what can happen, when you pursue your purpose.
And the funny thing is, Pastor Dave, I shoot my own shows and I edit my own shows. Radio, I have 2 TV shows and I have 2 radio shows, and I do all of them. Like I said, I didn't go to college. I wasn't the sharpest knife in the cupboard, but I know how to get the job done. And what I don't know If I don't know something, I go to someone who do know and try to gain that knowledge from them.
Wow. So, I
Yeah.
mean, that's amazing that you actually produce and edit your own
My own
shows,
shows.
and those shows are around the
All
world,
over the world.
syndicated.
Syndicated.
That
Zambia, Uganda, Malawi, Nigeria, 24 Caribbean island, UK, Canada. And my aim, because when I went away and I started to partner with certain people who market artists, I saw that there was a need in the Bahamas for, because there's a lot of talent here, talented artists here, but the problem is they're not being marketed internationally.
right,
And so with me connected with certain people, I saw the method and what they did and how they were able to make certain artists, get to next level in their life. And so I tried to bring that here to expand, the upcoming artists to another level, not only just to be seen locally, but internationally.
Man, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
And what's also interesting for me is seeing where you've come as a husband, father. So you're married. How many kids you have now?
Two.
Two kids. And your wife is a banker.
Yes.
And it's just amazing. When you look at growing up, when you look at where your friends are, and when you look at where you are, would you say that it was your faith in God that helped you to become who you are today? You would say that.
I really would say that, and aligning yourself with like-minded people. And like I said, a lot of these things that is happening with me today, it took a lot of people to contribute, like people like
Right.
you, like many people have contributed in my life to make me who I am today. And so my main thing is to try to see how I could pour back into other people. And so that's my vision, and that's what I would love to do before I pass on.
Man, that's a real story of hope when you
Yes.
talk about hope and
Yes, sir.
hope and faith.
That's a
And it's just amazing to me how persons like yourself, some of our other guests that we talked about, all have the same story. So basically, people are the same. Sometimes we believe like, if somebody is in a gang or somebody did something wrong, that they are somehow different from us. But the truth of the matter is, no matter where you come from, no matter what your experiences are, if you get the right information, if you get the right inspiration, your life could become anything.
change.
It can
Information
change.
changes people.
Yeah,
hmm
that's
And so when I look at my life, I'm telling you, if I didn't come to Bahamas Faith Ministry, I don't think I would have been the person I am today. It's
Wow.
because of the network, the teaching of the kingdom, and because I was messed up. I also had a problem with the color of my skin. I always questioned God about why did you allow me to come in this particular family when I look at other people's family, their family was doing way better. I'm telling you, I know what it is for the front door to get taken down, the back door to get taken down, and the neighbors looking and laughing. And so I know what it is to have, less than what everybody else have. And I was I felt cursed. And so I said, it must be the color of my skin, maybe because I'm black. And so I would question God about these things, but I didn't understand that God was orchestrating my life, because remember, I wasn't supposed to be born. When my mother made a mistake and got pregnant with me, she went to abort me. And one day I was taking her to Sandilands Rehabilitation Center, and she started crying, and I asked her, what happened? She said, Landlord, there's something I need to tell you. She said, when I got pregnant with you, I made a mistake. I was a married woman, and I went to abort you. It wasn't that I didn't love you or didn't want you, but because of my situation.
right.
And she said, I thank God that I didn't get rid of you, because you are the only one that really looks out for me.
Man, that's amazing.
And so a lot of times in our lives, our life may be a mess, but God had a powerful message
right.
in that mess.
And you've done some amazing things, even beyond what we discussed, because I remember you had a song on the charts in
Yeah,
Jamaica
We Need
and
Peace.
Europe.
Yes.
We Need Peace with Luciano.
Yes.
And then you also you did a reggae concert in
In Europe,
Germany, and
Germany,
so on.
yeah.
It's just amazing, man. I mean, amazing how far you can go in life if you make the right
If you
choices.
make the right choices, and I'm telling you, there's no excuse for anybody who's watching this TV show why you cannot be great or make something great with your life. No excuse. It's because once you got God on your side and you put the right people, align yourself among the right people, get the right information, that kingdom teaching will change your life, because there are a lot of filth that people will put into your spirit to tell you that you are a nobody and nothing great gonna come out of you. But I'm telling you, you start to learn about the kingdom of God and the teachings of the Most High, trust me, it will change your life like it has changed mine.
When I think about your story, I think about the song that they used to have out several years ago. Say, started from the bottom, now we're here. And you know, if you could come from the situation and the circumstances that you came from, then it tells us it's really possible for anybody. So I just want to thank you today for sharing with us. I believe that your story would have inspired a lot of people.
Yes.
And so we look forward to hearing more from you. I know you have some music videos out.
I also got a book. I just wrote
And
a
you
book.
just released a book. Man, I tell you, that's just amazing.
Yeah,
To
So
actually have written a book.
yeah, so you guys make sure keep up. Just keep up with me. I guess we'll be bringing in some books by next week. Link me on my Facebook page, Landlord, or Instagram, Landlord242, and stay up with me, and you'll see what's going on, so you can get your copy of the book, Lord, You're My Strength.
Wonderful, wonderful. Lord, you my strength. So we want to thank you, Landlord, for joining us today and sharing those words of hope and faith. And we want to encourage you out there to make sure that you make the right choices in life and understand that it's through your faith that your life can change. So thanks once again for watching our stories of hope and faith. I'm Pastor Dave Burrows, and we say to you, God bless.
Thanks for watching Our Stories of Hope and Faith. We trust that today's program has inspired and motivated you to succeed through your journey. Connect with us today to share your story of hope and faith, or to let us know how this show has impacted your life by sending us an email at ourstoriesofhopeandfaith@gmail.com.